If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO MISCHIEF Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO MISCHIEF Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? Welcome back to the conversation. CEO MISCHIEF Maker. I'm the chief mischief maker around here, MKJ. And welcome back to the conversation. Just an incredible guest. There's no way we're going to get into everything that he's done and the value that he can bring to you. I'm going to have to invite him back for another session. But today, Anthony Nitsos. Hey, welcome back to Impact and Innovation. You ready?
I am ready. Thank you.
All right. So there are many things we talked about in the last episode. And if you want to learn about how boredom helps change your mindset, go back and listen to Monday's episode with Anthony and myself. But let's go forward from that and talk about innovation, impact and innovation. We already know you're impacting SaaS businesses, specifically in the AI space, or at least using AI in their tool set. But how have you, and I know the answer to this, but tell me how you have taken so many of the different things that you've done, medical school, logistics, accounting, and used that knowledge, that experience, that intuition that you've developed over the years in those subjects, and how you're using that to innovate finance today.
It starts with the medical school. I'm at heart, I'm a scientist. Even before I went to med school, when I was in high school and junior high, one of the first books I ever remember reading was Miss Pickrell Goes to Mars when I was in second grade, right? I've been a science fiction quantoid nut from the beginning. So, and when you get into medical school, one of the things they teach you, of course, is this thing called the differential diagnosis, which is you basically you're given a set of symptoms, patient presents itself to you, and you got to figure out what's wrong with them. And then once you figure out what's wrong with them, how to treat them, right? But what too much of the medicine, and we were talking about this back then, too much of our medicine here is in treating the symptoms, not the root cause, not going back into the reason why you have high blood pressure is because of X, Y, and Z, or the reason why this is manifested is because of these behaviors. That's root cause analysis. We didn't call it that. We called it diagnosis. But that's really what it was. And so that initial, I'm not going to stop at the fact that your test result X is out of the norm. We need to drill down and find out why that is and treat it. And that treatment of the root cause to prevent future illness or future things going wrong carries directly into manufacturing. Because the way the Japanese implement manufacturing is create the part perfectly the first time, and then you don't have to worry about quality assurance checks. You don't have to worry about recalls because you made it right the first time. And that's how do I make it right the first time? Well, I've got 2 stations up. They keep producing the wrong part. So I can't make my part perfect. Well, let's go 2 stations up and find out why they can't produce their part wrong. Well, because they don't have the right design specs. Why don't they have the right design specs? And following that back up until you get to the point where it's like, oh, we found out that engineering is putting out updates in order to improve the process, but they're not making it to the assembly line. Let's fix that. And now all of a sudden the parts are made better. And that incremental process of constantly going back, of asking the question why over and over again until you get to, it's like, okay, this is a root cause. This is a leverage point. This is a point where if I just change this one thing, all these things downstream fix themselves. That continues forward into systems. So whether you're making a widget or you're making an invoice, it's all the same. You're making something. And when it comes to finance, what you're doing is you're making records of transactions, and you want to make sure that those records of transactions are absolutely correct and classified correctly so that when you analyze it, you can make decisions based on it that are valid and accurate. And so to me, it's all just part of one continuous mind flow from University of Michigan Med School, sitting there doing a physiology class, trying to figure out why, if the ammonia levels in your blood go up, what could possibly be causing it,
Right.
to why is it we have a collections problem and we can't get our invoices paid by our customers on time? And it's really the same process. Now, that's existing to create something, an existing process to create something. So that's the mindset for that. Then there's the other part of the mindset, which how do you extend that into the future?
Yes.
And in what dimension do you extend that into the future? In the world I live in, cash is the dimension that we extend into the future. That's the innovation that we really hammer on. It's like you can't spend net income, you can only spend cash. And if you're a startup and you have a limited amount of venture capital that you've been given, you need to know exactly how long that cash is going to last. And that's not something that you take a snapshot of today and say, oh, okay, we got 12 months left. No,
Yeah.
you have to revisit it all the time, which means you have to have all those processes and systems as solid as possible, producing all the information that you need at your fingertips so that you can say, oh, we're going to run out of cash in September, or we're going to run out of cash in April. What do we do to change that? Do we go out and raise more money? Do we drop costs? Do we lean into the marketing campaign? That's where the value then comes in, which is now you have the information. It's called actionable intelligence. What do you do with it?
All right, everyone listening, that was a perfect example of innovation. And so I know that you've also innovated the way you do business in order for you to run your own shop. Okay,
Hmm.
so from what you've seen in the jobs that you've had working for others, to be able to have a successful business with clients yourself, you've had to use that same innovation to be able to do that. And so everyone listening to my voice, please take a moment and look back. It's very easy to follow the thread backwards. It's not as easy to follow it forward, but once you follow it backward, you can apply it forward. So look back at all the experiences that you've had that have been lessons learned, positive feelings about doing good in the world or doing good in the business, skills that you've acquired that you really enjoy applying. And that is all called tacit knowledge. That is intuition. That is influence because of experience. And take that information and string it together to show how you are completely innovating your space and you have no competition. There's no one who has that specific thread of knowledge that gives you an edge in what you do. How are you doing that, Anthony, in actually building your own business now? Same processes, same process analogy, and root cause. So, how did you take the things that you saw in working for others and now apply that root cause and process to your own business?
So, have you ever heard of Edward Demings?
I've heard the name.
Okay. He is the reason why a good part of our civilization exists. And here's why. He was the innovator who took statistical analysis and turned it into statistical process analysis, which enabled the first Detroit to flip over in a matter of a few months from making cars to making war machines and using that to basically blow the blow the competition out of the
Yeah.
water when it came to World War II. And then did the same thing with Japan when his buddy MacArthur said, "Hey, I need to rebuild this country. Can you come over and help us?"
Mm-hmm.
And what it comes down to is there's really every business function, human function is the same way, but every business function shares three common characteristics: the process, how do you do it? The tools, what do you use to do it? And the people, who's going to do it? And the order of attack when it comes to making that as efficient as possible is the process first, then the tools and technology, and then make it easy for the people. So the way I do that internally in our organization is we standardize a lot of stuff for a very good reason. We find the best way something works and we stick with it, and we rinse, repeat that over and over, but we remain open to fixing it. We remain open to evolving it. So we're never satisfied with, hey, that's the way we're doing it today. That's the way we're going to keep doing it. No, we're constantly looking for, how do we do this? How do we tweak it? How do we take even 5 seconds of every day out of our lives to do something that used to take, 50 seconds? How much time do you save over that? So never stopping with even the incremental stuff. Don't get ridiculous with it, but it's like, an easy fix here will save us a lot of time. So making ourselves efficient so that we can serve more clients and pay attention to them. So the other thing is, once you do figure out your processes and your tools or technology, I call it the tech stack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the people. And you have to hire the people that are in your mindset, or they're in my mindset,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
we are there to exceed customer expectations. To me, merely meeting a customer's expectation, that's like table stakes. You want to win the game, you have to exceed their expectations, because then they're going to evangelize about you. They're going to say, "Wow, these guys are great. Look at what they, I can't, I don't know how I lived without them." Right?
Yeah.
That's the reaction that I want our clients to have, and that's the kind of reaction that I'm always striving for. It's like you remember MASH from TV, the
Yes.
TV show. Remember
Yep.
Radar? Radar was
Yes.
always there before the colonel knew what he needed.
That's right.
Right? We embrace our inner radar, is how I put it. It's like we're trying to give you the answer before you ask the question, because we're there to make sure that you are, well, that you're operating at your peak efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's another aspect of this, which is that, and Deming's brought this into play too. If you don't own a process, if you're not empowered to change it, if you're not empowered to run it the way that you see is best, then your investment in that is going to be lessened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
empowering the people to say, look, you know what? Try this out. Hey, Anthony, I think there's a better way of doing it. Okay, go ahead. And let's say it doesn't work out. Okay. There's no recrimination. There's no, I told you so. It's like, keep trying.
Yeah.
Because sooner or later, you're bright enough, you're going to figure out a way to do it better. And that's the kind of people that I like to hire: bright ones that are looking forward, ones that are not afraid to try new things, because we're in a business where our clients are that. They're trying new things by their nature, right?
Yeah.
So to build the practice, if you will, is to, standardize those processes, make them as efficient as possible, anticipate the customer before they know even what question they want to ask, having the question already answered for them, and then hiring the people that share that kind of vision, that mindset that says, hey, you know what, we're here to make the customers sleep better at night. How do we do that? We take
Yes.
care of all their business.
Yes. And innovation comes from all levels of a business. It doesn't
Mhm.
just come from the top.
Yeah.
Every single person in an organization can innovate and has the capacity to innovate if they are given the license to do so. And you
Yeah.
hire them to do that. But that's it. And then you look at that. That was wonderful. Thank you. Because
You're
then you can
quoting
take a look.
Demings, by the way. If you didn't
Oh
know
yeah.
it,
No.
that's he was the champion of modern management techniques. I mean, you should look him up after this program. The guy was amazing, and he
Yeah.
influences our lives in so many ways we're not aware of it. I'm so grateful the Japanese introduced me to him when I worked for the Japanese, because it's like, wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that, because this is really, I believe that this is the core of how because we're human beings. Human beings have been around for how long, and we've done everything. We've felt everything. We've done everything. It's just in a different way. AI is just a different form of something we've already done. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to come up with it. So, if we've done everything, the only way we can differentiate ourselves as human beings, not just by our personality, not just by the way that we look, but by the way we do things, is through this kind of innovation, is the experience that we bring. And every employee, if you look at your staff, if you look at the people who work with you, and you ask these kinds of questions, where they've come from and how they've um, created the way that they look at the world and the way that they solve specific problems within their domain, that innovation also contributes to the innovation of your company and the differentiation and the way your company does things different, not better, cheaper, faster, but different from others who might solve a similar problem that you do. If you don't take advantage of that, you are missing incredible opportunities in your human capital, if you want to call it human capital still. Wow. So how do you hire for that? If we keep on innovation and we think about how your employees can innovate within your space and in your company, how do you hire for those people to be able to not just give them the ability to and the license to innovate within your business and to help your customers sleep better at night, but to bring that knowledge and experience fully into the success of your business and your clients.
So a lot of it comes down to, I think, a couple of things. One, don't grow so fast that you have to hire. Okay. When you're in that kind of mode where it's like, I just need to grab whatever body's walking by me because I've got an emergency in terms of delivery or service to my customers, you're already in trouble. So you want to have controlled growth, which comes back again to that future looking, how do I go forward with this in a way that is not going to threaten my quality? Because as a services provider, that's what we are. Quality of service is absolutely number one, and you don't want to falter on that, because reputations can be destroyed in minutes that take years to build. So it comes to taking our time and really getting to know the person, because skill sets are one thing. You said tacit knowledge, I think it was. I call them the hard skills. The hard skills are one thing. The soft skills, that's something that takes conversations to get to. And what I like to do, if it's possible, and it's not always possible, is work with them as a contractor first. So with some of our best hires have been people who have had full-time jobs that wanted to do side work, and they were interested in it. And they were interested in doing something different than what they're related to, but different than what their day job was. And then we can get a chance to, okay, are they go-getters? Are they ones who don't wait for clients to ask them a second time for something? Are they ones that answer the real question without answering the surface question, right? So client can ask you a question, you answer it, but that's not really what they were asking. You need to read behind the lines. Do you have that ability to read behind the lines of a question? Do you have the ability to anticipate? Those all show up over time. I had a friend of mine once put it, she said, the best way to know if you're in the right relationship? I said, no, tell me. She said, 4 seasons and a crisis. And I cracked up. And it was like, I cracked up because it's funny, but I also cracked up because it's absolutely true. I want to see you in every season of the year. And I also want to see what it's like when you're under fire, when you're in a crisis, because that really tells the character side of things more than anything else. So the saying goes, hire slow, fire fast. Hire really slow, be careful. The skill sets are one thing that anybody can, carry into a room, but how you use those tools, that's something that comes from, your collective past, if you will, how you were raised, how your parents treated you, how how school went for you, did you have all sorts of things that could have happened to you, right? But it is the mindset of, how do I apply what I've learned that I'm looking for when I hire somebody?
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit CEOMischiefMaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.